Come on. What up, everybody? TGIF. That's what we like to say around here. We are glad to see Friday roll around, and I know all of you are as well here on the Auburn Blitz podcast on this Friday edition. Brett and Faith coming to you here, and the close to a very busy week for a lot of people, I think. So, but it's not over yet. We want to remind everybody we will be at Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine today at lunch. Faith, I know you're excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to go over there, and my parents are going to swing by after, and
Of course they are. Absolutely.
they're going to get some food for this weekend for us, and I'm so excited because they have literally the best meat cuts over there.
Yeah, it's the best. There's no doubt about it. And so we'll be doing our show from there, and we'd love for you also to come out and see us. If can't stay for the whole show, we understand, but at least come by and say hello and get you some wine and get you some good food. And man, we're excited about it. Coach Pruitt, Coach Kleinard, Jake from the Auburn fishing team is going to be there. How are we going to squeeze all this in? I mean, we might have to go 2 hours.
We might have to.
I don't think we're
Nothing wrong with that.
allowed. I don't think we're allowed to do that. But anyway, I had a lot of feedback yesterday. Faith, I'd just like for you to know of people that were concerned for you with the oil situation. So I said, it's all taken care of. She's going to get that handled this weekend. Her car will not blow up. There will not be a rod that flies through the hood like I think it was Hugh's brother-in-law yesterday that said that. So anyway, everything's good. We're off to a good start this Friday. And then next week, man, we're going to keep doing the podcast as normal, but we got a busy week next week. We'll be in Birmingham 3 days for sure with basketball. Our whole crew with the HSA radio network will be there Monday through Saturday, and we'll be calling all the state championship semifinal and final basketball games, and all the matchups are set now. So we'll talk some about that. There's some big-time recruits that will be up in Birmingham that we'll get to see both on the girls and the boys side. Some great storylines across high school basketball here in the state. So we're excited about that. It's always a fun event. Hey, look, if you've never been to the finals in Birmingham, it is one of the coolest tournaments that you'll ever go to. And if you don't have a team in it and you just want to take in some good basketball, choose a day and come up. Bring your kids. Just bring your buddies. If you want to go and watch some really good basketball, this is a great opportunity for you to do that. It's a cool place. And, you know, Auburn's played in there now in the NCAA tournament. And the remodel that they did on it a couple of years ago and Legacy, and then they named it Legacy Arena, obviously. It's just beautiful. It's a top venue, and the NCAA tournament's already announced they're coming back there again in the next couple of years. So there'll be more NCAA tournament games there. There's going to be other events coming, but always the home for the AHSA finals in high school basketball. So make sure you come up to a game or 10 if you want to next week in Birmingham. Faith, we're going to dive into some Auburn, Georgia preview here as Auburn takes on Georgia tomorrow at 3:00 in Neville Arena. Some baseball back on the diamond, softball as well. Softball off to a tremendous start. Also baseball off to a tremendous start. Before we dive into this Auburn-Georgia matchup, you know, I sent something over to you last night. You had already seen it, but just right now, Auburn athletics, it's on a heater. Really doing well across the board. If you look at women's tennis, ranked as high as they've ever been ranked in school history, and at number 4, the only loss they've got on the season is to number 1 Georgia. Basketball obviously is ranked number 1. Gymnastics is ranked 11th. Our track and field 17th. Softball 18th. Baseball in one poll is ranked 25th. They've also, again, they beat Troy, who was ranked in the top 25 already, and they've got a series coming up this weekend that we'll talk about here a little bit. Obviously, we won Miss America. We didn't win it, but we're proud that Auburn has Miss America. So Auburn's just really kicking tail right now. If we can get football to join the party, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no doubt. Auburn family is up right now. We're doing great. So let's
keep it going.
Let's hope some football can get put up in there. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, we need football to be on that list for sure. Some comments coming in. Yeah, PJ, it's cold, bone chilling cold. I am sick of this crap. That's why I'm struggling a little bit with my voice a little bit back and forth, because this weather can't make its mind up. It goes from 80 to last night. The low was 22. I mean, this sucks. I don't want this anymore. It's time for that to hit the road.
Lucy was shaking outside. I was like, all right, drama queen, hurry up and do your business, and then let's go inside. If you're shaking, it's wasting time.
Yeah, don't smell every bush out here. We got and every blade of grass. We gotta get back inside. It's 20 degrees. Justin, I hope Coach Harris can get women's basketball turned around too. They've had a lot of injuries. They've got some really good players. She recruited really well this year. So I know this is a setback for her. She had this program, it looked like, taking gradual steps forward the last couple of years, and this year's been a little bit of a setback. But again, you can't build Rome in a day. You can't correct all ills in a couple of years. So she's still growing this program and building this roster, and she got another big commitment from one of the top players here in the state a couple of days ago. So the recruiting's still at a high pitch. It's no different than Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is taking his knocks for the performance of Auburn on the field, but you can't knock him for his recruiting, and the recruiting still is at a high pitch. But it's at some point, and especially this year, you got to start seeing some results on the field if you want to continue to recruit at a high level, because only so long players are going to continue to buy into a vision. And once you have enough evidence of how you are running your program, they're going to make decisions to do something else if you can't get wins. So the same with Coach Harris. If you remember when Coach Pearl got here, it took him 4 years to really get Auburn into a situation where it could compete night in and night out. So slow build. She inherited a basketball team that was also at the bottom of this conference, and everybody's so good. So you kind of have a little bit of the kind of have some things stacked against you when it comes to trying to build in this league. There's no patience. So Glenn said, seeing where Texas is not having a spring game, another chance for college football. I think, Auburn's getting started later this year in spring football. It's going to be at least the week after spring break coming up. So I think it could be anywhere from March the 18th to March the 25th of a start date. So to give Auburn football about 3 weeks of practice before the A-Day game, Faith. You and I will probably be at that game and covering that. But again, hopefully you'll be at spring practice. That's the hope when everything gets started, and you'll be able to report, what you're able to see, not just what everybody else is talking about. You'll be able to give your perspective on what you're able to see at spring football practice, and maybe talking to some of the players throughout practice. But he's going to go to like a 4-day practice week and work in an NFL teaching day, I believe. Now that came out a few weeks ago and talked about it. So we'll talk more about spring football as we get closer, but we're still a little bit of ways away. If you'll remember, we were getting ready to start spring football practice last year about this time. And they took a week off, obviously, for spring break, and then came back and finished up heading into A-Day. It's going to be a lot different this year. It's going to be 3 straight weeks, and then Auburn will probably have a couple of dates still left by the time A-Day rolls around to practice a few more times after A-Day if Coach Freeze chooses to do that, Faith. So we'll have to just see how he feels and what his expectations are. But you're starting to see more colleges decide that they either don't want to have a traditional spring game or they want to kind of change it up and do some different things, kind of like what Lane Kiffin did at Ole Miss last year.
Yeah, it's definitely evolving and changing just because you have the endless transfer portal that's open now at this point. So, teams can watch and say, oh, I want that guy. What's it going to take to get him over here? So,
yep, it's an open
and it
season.
doesn't surprise me that Texas isn't going to have it at all. So,
yep. So again, I think you get what you need to get done in practice, and then A-Day games and spring games are for fans, and I think that's kind of what everybody's perspective is now. Is that look, we'll just choose not to put our team on display for the world to see, and for people to come and cherry pick players, or at least try to tamper and entice some of my guys that maybe were diamonds in the rough, or guys that are emerging, to kind of get persuaded to maybe look at other schools. So anyway, all right, let's dive into some basketball. We won't be on as long today, obviously, everybody, because we've got a show to do at lunch at Pepper Tree, so we're heading over there a little bit early to get set up and all. So we'll get down to business here this morning. We do want to thank our partners here on the program. Again, they are the ones that are allowing us to do this podcast and bringing you this each and every day, Monday through Friday. Sense of Green for air that's cool and clean. Call on Sense of Green, not Glean. And let me tell you, it's plenty cool outside. You don't need any cool air in your house. You need the warm air going on. Carrier experts here in the state of Alabama, proud partners of Auburn Athletics and sponsors here on the Auburn Blitz podcast. Scout Program Management. Just saw the new pictures of the Benjamin Russell High School. Scout Program Management in charge of that project. Man, that thing is coming up fast. Looks like it's on track to be finished at the end of this year. The roof is on. If you go and find me on social media, I shared, go out and find Scout and like their page on Facebook and see the progress of not only Benjamin Russell High School, but all the other projects they have going on. So they handle it from start to finish. We can't do it without them. And then, of course, Bunkers on West Glen in Auburn, trying to make sure I get my directional right here, east, west, all that stuff. Bunkers is in West Glen, downtown Auburn, with plenty of parking for you, so don't worry about trying to find a space. If you can't get a ticket to the game on Saturday, go check out Auburn, Georgia at Bunkers. Great food, great bar service. You can rent one of the simulation bays, and you and your buddies can go at each other and figure out who's got the best golf game. All that good stuff at Bunkers. So make sure you go check them out on West Glen. Glenn said, yeah, you beat Georgia by 2 without Brooke. Should be an easier win. Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Again, I think I'm excited about I think Coach Harris is a really good coach. I do. I've met her and talked to her several times. She's getting after it recruiting. I think it's going to be fine. I think, again, we've had some injuries, had some setbacks. That's what it is. And when you're a thin roster and you got young girls that you're trying to bring up, and there's some young players that are having to get a lot of playing time, that's birth by fire, Faith, in this league. So
I think he was saying like the men's basketball team beat UGA
I'm sorry.
without Broom.
Right. I'm thinking about, my mind's still on Coach Harris and what Coach Harris has done at Auburn. I've not shifted over to Georgia yet. My fault there, Glenn. But hey, Glenn, spell it right, man. Spell it right. You get me all off guard here. I do want to stay with women's basketball for just a second, since we are talking about it. Again, when you look at the way Coach Harris what she came into here in this conference. She's done a really good job recruiting. And again, that's what it takes to build a roster back up to be able to compete. And she's not where this team wants to be, obviously, at 3-10 in the league. Again, they had some big wins the last couple of years. They beat LSU last year at home. Obviously, you know how big that was. They beat Tennessee the year before. That's the kind of progress she's been making. But when you look at this league, South Carolina and LSU and now Texas that's sitting there at 12-1, this is no different than the men's side of things. So it's a grind. When you're already down at the bottom and you're trying to build up while you're trying to go through the level of competition where there's 7 teams in this league that are really, really, really good. It's going to take a while. So, again, that's kind of my parting shot for women's basketball, and then we'll move over to men's now, and we'll get Broom and Brooke straight there. Appreciate you, Glenn, with the little emojis. All right, now let's shift over and talk some Auburn, Georgia basketball. And, yes, should be an easier win, but hold what you're saying there, Glenn. I just pulled up and looked at last night, and I thought about you, Faith, on this. This stat line looks very similar to the Auburn-Arkansas stat line coming into this game. When you look at points scored versus points given up, and Auburn had about a 10-point advantage over Arkansas in points scored, but it was about dead even, right, on defense, somewhere around 68 points. Well, guess what? Yes, we've already played Georgia once, but Georgia is averaging giving up 68.2 a game. Auburn's averaging giving up 68.1 a game. So here's my thought process on this. If you come out and play sluggish, lazy basketball, again, you're going to be in for another game like you had against Arkansas a couple of nights ago. And I hope Auburn is rejuvenated and re-energized, and they learned a little bit from that. And let's be honest, they dodged a bullet. I mean, Arkansas came back, took the lead late in that game, and Auburn was able to kind of weather that storm. But this looks very similar, Faith, to what you brought up leading into the Arkansas game.
Yeah, and I mean they're averaging 36 rebounds a game, and Bruce Pearl wasn't exactly ecstatic with how our offense played. So it's really going to have to be another defensive game for us, I think. And we only let Arkansas shoot 3 for 19 from the 3-point range. And it's going to have to kind of be the same thing with this Georgia team that we're going into. And having watched already them play over a month ago, not having Broom in there was definitely a big factor. But also, we also had just played we just had played Mississippi State and South Carolina, which when we played South Carolina, that was at South Carolina, and we only beat them by 3. And then we went and we played Mississippi State at home, and we knocked them off pretty good. But then we were on the road against Georgia last time, and it was another close game. But I think this team has developed so much since January, and obviously people get banged up kind of later. But for us, Broom has come back, and hopefully Chad isn't too banged up or whatever anymore. But they're coming off of a 3-game losing streak coming into Neville Arena. And
let's hope they don't break that losing streak.
Yeah, let's hope not. But they definitely they're still not a team to overlook, but they had this whole week. They didn't have a midweek game this week. And we played Arkansas and kind of, I hope, got a little bit of a reality check in there. So,
yeah, Glenn Chaney's turned into an X factor. Justin's right. If you'll remember going back to us previewing Auburn, Georgia, the first time they played, I talked about Asa Newell and we talked about what Coach Pearl said about Asa Newell. He's their leading scorer. He's a guy that Auburn wanted. We would have loved to have had him, and he chose to stay in Georgia. And I think Bruce Pearl talked about the NIL game, saying, "Look, we're not able to go into Georgia and just cherry pick like we used to based off results. NIL's influenced this, and we can't get everybody." So, but Asa Newell was a difference maker in that first game with 16 points. Todd Pettiford was the difference maker for Auburn. He had 24 in that game. Miles Kelly had 13. Chad Baker-Mazar had 13, and then really that was it. And if you'll remember, Faith, at the end of that game, Auburn almost blew it. I mean, Georgia actually had a shot in the corner that would have won the game,
and he missed.
And he missed it. So we didn't finish that game really well. I don't think we finished the Alabama game very well, at least there for about 30 seconds, trying to get the ball in bounds and getting it into Janai Broome and him missing 4 free throws and giving Alabama at least a puncher's chance to come down and have something weird happen to kind of either maybe tie that game up or win it. So Tahad had to go off in that game. 24 points, 7 of 13 shooting, 5 of 7 outside. He had half of Auburn's 3-pointers in that game. Auburn made 10. Georgia, on the flip side, struggled a little bit. From the field overall, though, they were a better team, 45% shooting. And if you look at their scoring breakdown, it was Asa Newell, 16, and then they had a pair of guys with 12, Lawrence and Kane. So if you remember, Kane kind of had maybe one of his best games of the season. You know, we struggled stopping him there in the first half. But again, this game will be in Auburn this time, and this is you only play a handful of teams twice in this league now with the expansion. And so Auburn will be playing Georgia again for the second time. And these teams know each other. They've got film on each other now. And if you look at Georgia, they're a team that's sitting there probably not going to make the tournament unless they were to get – they're just very similar to Arkansas. You know, a win in Neville Arena really flips the script for them, even though they've lost 3 here in a row. That would get them to 5-9 on the season and give them at least a chance to maybe get to that 7 or 8 win mark, which would be the magic number maybe to get into the NCAA tournament. So this is a massive game for them. It really a loss here tomorrow pretty much eliminates them unless they go on a run in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, and like I said, they didn't have a game this midweek, and they're taking plenty of time, I'm sure, to prepare for tomorrow. And watching us with Arkansas, I'm sure for them was like, if we can get them on a day like that, we can go in there and blow their doors off. We can go in there and win this game. And we need to come out not the way we did against Arkansas and kind of come back with the momentum of we're still a good team. That was a bad day. And not so much of thinking too much on what happened on Wednesday.
Yeah, you have to turn the page pretty quick in this league, win or lose. I'm looking at it, and we'll close out our talk here on Georgia and move on to some baseball and softball before we get off here this morning. But I really think for Auburn's confidence, they've had a lot of close games, and they've had some battles. Obviously, going back Vanderbilt, Alabama, Arkansas was a lot closer than they would have liked. I think Auburn was a 16.5-point favorite going into that game. I think Auburn needs to have another great offensive night shooting, very similar to what they did against Alabama. Now, I want to kind of fast forward a little bit. You don't take anybody for granted in this league, but we know how important these 3 games at home are to try to stay on pace and make it really tough for everybody else to catch Auburn. But Faith, looking ahead, I thought, our good buddy Jason Caldwell said it best on 24/7, some of the articles he wrote. He said, not fast forwarding, but I think somebody asked him where he thought Auburn might drop another game, and he said Auburn could drop 2 more games. And if you want to break it down, we struggle at Kentucky. We haven't won there since 1987. We got to go to Texas A&M. That they're a very physical team. They're a top 10 team. So look, that's a toss up at best. And then you got Alabama coming in, and just because you went to their place and beat them doesn't mean that you're going to come in and automatically get a win because you're at Neville. Because Auburn has frankly struggled against teams this year at Neville. Been able to win the games outside of Florida, but the Arkansas game, we can go back, and Auburn struggled with Mississippi State for a little while. We can go back through, and then you got Ole Miss coming in. Before that's the last of that 3-game home stretch here next, I think going all the way into next Wednesday. So Auburn's got a lot of tough games left ahead of it. I would say all of them are tough in their own right, but we've got an opportunity though to get and keep pace and really put pressure on these teams. And the team I'm the most scared of, Faith, goes back to the one we talked about a month ago, and that's Florida. If you look at their schedule, to me, the only game that they really have a chance of legitimately losing, unless they just play like crap, is that trip to Alabama. And so they're 2 games behind Auburn right now. But if Auburn drops a game somewhere and they don't lose again, it's going to be a battle coming down probably to that last game of the season with Alabama.
Yeah, no doubt. And we talked about it yesterday about how the jungle can be a positive, but also a negative for the guys. But yeah, game by game, day by day, we got to take it like that.
Absolutely. No doubt. All right. Are you going to throw a prediction out there? Faith was not in a good mood during the Arkansas game. I don't know that many Auburn fans were, but she was in a super raw mood on that one, and it was because they were playing so bad, and she'd had a little bit of a rough day. Not the whole day wasn't bad, but just kind of had let all that build up. So anyway, I think it's going to be better tomorrow, Faith. So I'll give you the floor. Who are you? What's your prediction?
I'm obviously gonna take Auburn here. Score wise, I think if we can really, really have them come in here and just shut them down from the start, I'm gonna go 80, 82,
Okay.
77, 82, 70.
Ooh, close.
82, 70, anywhere 82, 72 to 77.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
If you could bet like that in Vegas, man, we'd all be rich.
Oh, I'd be a winner. Hello.
Let's see, 70-ish,
Like what?
maybe in the 80s.
Yeah, Georgia already is asking for a tech on Chad. Come on, please. No, but if I'll say what, isn't it like if I say Georgia plus 16.5, doesn't that mean they can win by 16 but also lose by 16?
No, that means that like the cover, like if you go the other way, it means you're giving Georgia 16 points.
What's the thing where you can say, all right, they can win by 16.5, but they can also lose by 16.5, and I still cover.
That's a push.
No.
If
right.
they do,
I gotta ask my friends that do this kind of stuff, because I clearly have no idea.
All right, so if you look at it, Auburn has to win by at least 6. Like when you have,
I know, but you can make your own. That's the thing.
Well, I'm not making my own. You can't.
Well, I'm making my own.
You're making your own line. So you just kind of gave a
16.5. We can win by 16. Wait,
just give a score. I mean, again, you're complicating all this stuff. You did it yesterday.
82, 70, 73.
82, 73. And all right, and you're holding to that score, right? It's kind of like Price is Right. You're sitting there going, what are you bidding? And it's like
part of me wants to say 77, part of me wants to say 73. But
go with your heart. What'd you say, 82, 73?
82, 73.
82, 73. I like it. All right, I'm going to go 79 to 64. Okay. I don't think Auburn
I don't
gives
need
up 79-64. So
hang on, I'm going to write this down real quick, Brett.
write it down.
Just give me a second.
You're going to holding some accountability here.
I am.
79-64, Auburn defensively going to shut Georgia down. Not going to be able to get into the 70s. Going to be a better. Thanks for the advice, guys. Yeah. Anytime, Glenn, you want to roll in here, and who cares about DraftKings and FanDuel when you got Auburn Blitz, right?
79-64.
Jeff, Duber's talking about a teaser where you can where you pay to move the line.
Yes, I think that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, where you pay to move the line. Yes. You were talking about creating a line.
Brett, I don't know how this works. What do I look like? A better?
Right, look,
I'd have a lot more money if I was better.
She's sandbagging everybody. She's really a hustler. So just throwing that out there. Yep, Duber, that's exactly what she's talking about. Where you can pay more money and build the line. So either way, Vegas is the reason Vegas builds all those big time casinos, because they suck you in.
What did I say, Brett?
Stuff
Vegas
like that.
always wins.
They do.
Vegas always wins.
They give up some. We're not Vegas Dave over here, by the way. If you haven't seen that story on Vegas Dave, go read or go watch the documentary on Vegas Dave. It's pretty cool. The guy kind of went through it. So, all right. So baseball talk. Let's talk about baseball here before we get off. Auburn off to a good start. They're back home obviously today. Here in this homestand, 2:30. And Saturday at noon, and then Sunday at 1 o'clock, probable starters. Sam Dutton will get the start today. Don't know who the probable starter is tomorrow. And then Christian Chatterton will get the nod, it looks like, going into Sunday. But, if you look at this team, and Auburn in one poll is ranked 25th, and they're 4-1. They're playing a team in Wright State that has only played a couple of games. They won a doubleheader against Longwood. But this team had made 3 straight NCAA tournaments from 21 to 23, and they won 32 games last year. So this is it's a very formidable opponent. And we'll kind of see how Auburn performs. I know Auburn won 2 out of 3 in that first series with Holy Cross. Again, this is a tough league. Auburn, maybe some things it's too early to tell. You got new guys on the mound for Auburn this year, but the thing that killed Auburn last year, Faith, in summation here with baseball, was walks. And we've already seen that kind of rear its ugly head a little bit here in the early going of this season. Again, it's still very young, but walks and not being able to make the right play at the right time was the difference in Auburn being at the top of this league and then at the bottom of this league. I mean, the margin of error in this league is stupid small. And I've said it. I know basketball and football and all of our sports are tough, but I think baseball is the toughest of all when it comes from top to bottom, and how thin of a line it is between the bottom of this conference and then the top. I mean, it could be one bad pitch in a game that costs you a series. It could be one error in the infield that costs you a game. It could be a key hit in a game, just one, that can be the difference in you winning. I mean, I'd have to go back and pull it up, but I remember last year Auburn was in almost every series, Faith, and they just could not make the play or make the pitch or do the right thing at the right time to get over the hump and win some of those series. And so they lost a majority of them because of 1 or 2 plays in a game.
Yeah. We had, I think it was 2 years ago, where we won the Georgia series actually because of a walk-off. And that's how we ended up winning the Georgia series. That sticks out to me. I know it was 2 years ago. But yeah, on Wednesday, I don't know if we talked about this yesterday or not. We had 15 strikeouts during the game, and that's the most we've had since 2022 when we were in the College World Series. But yeah, our pitching has definitely struggled in the years, but I don't know. I think this year we've got young guys, and hopefully it's still early in the season. We've played 8 games in the first 10 days. So, we've seen a lot, but there's also a lot left. So,
Well, you got, Cade Fisher that's dealing with a muscle problem.
yeah, he's out.
So he's going to be out. But again, um, again, still early, but you don't want the walks to be a problem again. Like last year, Auburn really struggled trying to get out of innings. I mean, Auburn gave up leads in games because of pitching, and just could not get out of jams, and could not do the just spotty play at best coming out of the bullpen. So hopefully that's going to correct itself. It better correct itself in this league, or it will rear its ugly head for sure. All right, Auburn up today against Louisiana Tech at 2:00. Up in Madison, Alabama, up in North Alabama. Auburn is 11-0 on the season. They'll also, again, if you look at the Malvos, they're getting it done offensively and defensively. They're able to win 2-1 games. They're also able to win games 14-12. So I love that the offense is back for Auburn. It's exciting to see Auburn hitting the softball at the pace that they're hitting it right now. Faith, again, so if you're up in the Madison area, if you're up in North Alabama, want to take in some good softball, Auburn now ranked number 20 in the country. Will be taking on Louisiana Tech, and then also taking on James Madison. I believe that game was scheduled for after, but because of the cold temperatures, I think maybe it's been canceled. I'll try to confirm that, but I think they canceled that game because, man, it was in the 20s last night, and I know some high school games were going on around the state, and that's brutal. So they're going to get the game in at 2:00 today, but maybe the James Madison, I'm going to try to look that up before we get off here to make sure. But then turn around tomorrow and play North Alabama at 10:00, and then also play Miami of Ohio at 12:30, and then they'll close out taking on Jacksonville State on Sunday at 3:00. So that's all right. So I was right. So I thought I did see where it had been canceled, but Auburn still going to have plenty of games that they're going to play. Let's see if they can remain unscathed. See if they can stay undefeated this weekend as they travel to North Alabama. So going to be really cold. So I don't blame them for canceling that game into the night. Nobody wants to be out there playing in that, potential for injuries, and also who wants to sit out in that, to be honest about it, and watch that. Yep, get sick and just miserable. It's not any fun, period. So, all right. Hey, thanks to Glenn and Jeffrey and everybody for the gambling advice for you, Faith, and helping you kind of figure out how the line works and the teaser and purchasing points so you can get the line to think you think it's going in your favor. That's why you purchase the teaser like that. But a lot of times it doesn't work out that way. But all right, we'll see how it works out. A lot of great things going on this weekend. A busy weekend for Auburn. Again, want to remind everybody we're going to be over at Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. Coach Pruitt coming over to join us at 11. He'll be there a little early. Coach Kleinert will join us. We'll talk some Auburn men's golf. Talk some Auburn fishing team. Man, what a great fishing team Auburn has, and looking forward to having Jake back. And he's the president of the team, and we'll be talking to him. And not to mention the great food at Pepper Tree. The smell when you walk in will be tremendous. So you better come hungry, everybody, if you're coming out to hang out with us today. at Preparatory Steaks and Wine. To close out, want to thank Sure Shot for their support here on the program in Alexander City on Highway 280. Firearms, apparel, hunting, whatever it is that you're looking for, long guns, handguns, new and used guns. They sell and trade it all. Give Scott a call today at 256-329-0080. And if he doesn't have it, he'll find it for you. But a full array of, and that wasn't a gunshot in the background. That was Faith dog.
Lucy. So,
yeah, exactly. So it did sound like a machine gun. So I wonder if we could time that right every time we're doing the Sure Shot ad, if we can have the machine gun simulation going on in the background. But anyway, go to Sure Shot, check them out. Great people. It's where I get all my hunting stuff, all of my gear, my guns, my ammo, everything comes from there. And then Oliver Ross, a full service bartending service. Talked to Mark yesterday, had lunch with Mark yesterday. It was good catching up with Mark, and really enjoys being part of our podcast now. And if you're looking for somebody to come and handle your party or your gathering, Oliver Ross, they have fully experienced and licensed bartenders that will come out and make your party top notch. So make sure you call on Oliver Ross. Go out there and check them out on Facebook and on Instagram, and you can get in touch with them and schedule them to come cover your next party or event. Well, Faith, been an action-packed 40 minutes here this morning. We're looking forward to heading over to Preparatory Steaks and Wine here in just a little bit. We hope if you're in the Auburn area, you'll be able to swing by and see us. I want to thank everybody that jumps in every single day and comments and joins the show. You keep us on our toes. PJ said I'm going to say 85 to 79. So there's PJ's prediction for Auburn, Georgia tomorrow. So we'll see how it plays out. I don't care if it's just by 1 point. As long as we keep the W's rolling in, that's all that matters. But if you don't have a chance to go out to the game and get a ticket and sell a kidney or whatever, or body part to get into Neville Arena, you can go to Bunkers. It's a lot less expensive, and you can have great food, and you can watch it there at Bunkers. They'll be glad to see you. All right, folks, I hope everybody has a wonderful Friday. TGIF to everybody. Be safe out there, and War Eagle will catch you on Monday.
War Eagle.